Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how to create your own Metroid mods with Mage. For this video I'm going to show you the basics of the program. I'm not going to do wild stuff. I'm also showing you all the key combinations I'm using, and you can see them in the bottom left corner of the screen. And yeah, I think we should start now. So, first of all, you need the program Mage. You can download it with the link in the description. And when you open the program, you should see like this window. And you can't really do stuff in here because you have not loaded the ROM yet. So, if you want to edit the game, you need to load the ROM into the program. And we do that if we click on this, or if we click on File and Open ROM. And now you need to select your ROM. You can either select your Zero Mission ROM or your Fusion ROM. How you get those ROMs is up to you because I'm not allowed to share them with you. For this tutorial I'm going to use Zero Mission, but most of the stuff should work exactly the same for Fusion. So I'm going to open my Metroid Zero Mission ROM. And then you get this window. If you played the games, you should know this room. This is Prince Zero. You start right here, and there's where your morph ball is. So this part of the screen is your room viewer. It's basically a room viewer, like I said. You can zoom in and out in the room viewer with Control and plus, and Control and a minus. If you want to change the room you're viewing, going over to area and room, and you can select your area right here and the room in that area. As you see, everything like number based is in hex code, because hex code is much smaller than the decimal. But if you don't like hex code and you want to see everything in decimal, you can click on options, number base, and then select decimal. And now everything is in our normal decimal number system. But it's always good to get used to hexadecimal, because a lot of code stuff is also written hexadecimal. So I'd advise you to learn hexadecimal. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you everything about those little tabs on top of this, because most of it is useless for the basic editing I'm going to show you in this video. So I'm going to get to this when we need it. So this tutorial is going to feature like basic level editing. And for example, we want to put blocks in here in the level, and we can do that in the room viewer. But as you can see, I'm pressing left click or right click and nothing is happening. That's because we have not selected what layer we want to edit and which tile we want to place. So the game is split up into tile sets, which you can see on your left. This is the tile set viewer, and each tile is 16 by 16 pixels big. And in this tile viewer you can select tiles or groups of tiles, and you can see the square right here is getting bigger because I selected more tiles, and you can place those tiles. Or actually you can't, because you need to select a layer first. So we got 3 layers right here, but we can't click on BG0 right now because it's a special layer that's not existing in this room. So I'm going to explain you the layer system. So there's BG1, that's the player layer, like it's the layer where your player is standing on. So everything on that layer is in front of the player. BG2 is behind the player, So it's for background objects like those little rocks right here. And there's also BG3, which is the most far behind layer, and that's the scrolling background. We can't edit that in the room viewer. We need to import new files for that. So we can do that in another video. It's not too hard, but maybe too complicated for the start. So we want to edit the player layer right now. So we're clicking BG1, and now we can place the tiles we selected over here. Let's select this block of tiles. We can place this in the room. So really easy, right? The problem is, if we test the game, we can do that if we go to object mode. There are two modes in the room editor. There's the object mode and the BG mode. In the BG mode, you can edit the backgrounds and the layers, and in the object mode, you can add objects as enemies and doors. We can click on the speed boost block right here, or the morph ball, to switch between them, or we can simply middle click with our mouse wheel to quick change between them. So when we are in object mode, we can right click and we have a lot of options. And if you want to test the room, we can click test room here, and it's going to test the room at the position where our mouse is. But we can also just press T and it will quickly start the game. So now we're in the game, and as we will see, I'm sorry for the shortcut showing right there. As we will see, we can't interact with this object, but we're behind it because it's in the first layer. But yeah, we can't interact with it. That's because it has no clip data right now. So if we go back into Mage and close our window, we will see this clip data thing. And clip data is basically the function the block has we're placing. So here are all the clip data of the game. It's not too much, but everything you need. You can add more clip data with patches. There are some custom patches that add, for example, spikes, but we don't need those yet. I'm going to do a tutorial for that later, but not in this video. So if we just want normal, like ground we can walk on, we need to select solid block and then place it in our level again because it's not updated yet. As you can see, when I'm hovering over the thing with my mouse, on the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see that it says what clip data is on the block. And right now it's air. If I hover over this, it says solid block. So we want it to be solid block 2. And for that, we also need to check clip. If we check that box, it tells the program that we want to overwrite clip data. So when we now select our tiles again and place them over this again, you can see on the bottom left corner it says solid block. We can also just remove the check on BG1 and then just randomly select any tile in here, and we can place only clip data without tiles. So this would be solid blocks even though there are no tiles. So that's a possible thing if we want to create invisible walls, for example. There's a way to show the clip data. So for example, if you have those invisible walls, you may want to see where all the clip data is. So you can press Ctrl and 5 and you can see the outlines of solid blocks and some special clip data. With Ctrl and 6 you can show interactable blocks like speed boost blocks, crumble blocks, and bomb blocks. With control and 7, we can show each value of the clip data. So each clip data has a value. For example, air is 0 and a solid block is 10. And we can see this right here if you want to have a big overview of all the clip data, because maybe you placed something wrong and you can see that with control and 5, then that may be helpful. Yeah, those are all the shortcuts that are helpful for clip data. So now you know how to place blocks and how to edit your level. So now I'm going to tell you some quick shortcuts so you can quickly select stuff inside of your level. So for example, if you want to copy this part, you can select it when you if you drag onto it with your right mouse button. But you need to make sure if you want to copy the tiles and the clip data, you need to check that too. Because if you only check clip data, you will only copy the clip data of this square I just marked. But if you want to copy the tiles, you need to check the BG1 box. And now we can copy it, and as you see, the red outline marks that these are solid blocks. Okay, cool. Now you may want to know how to add enemies. It's pretty easy. You just need to go into your object mode, so click on the morph ball or press your middle mouse button. And if you right click now, you can add a sprite, add a door, add a scroll, or test a room. We already did the test room. So now we want to add a sprite because enemies are stored in sprites. And as you see, we're getting a zoomer. So you can now drag the sprite with a left click and move it somewhere else. You are limited to the sprites that are stored in this room right now because I did not show you how to edit a sprite set that are stored in yet. But I'm going to do that in a next video. So now you may wonder, how do we get the morph ball here? Because the morph ball has to be placed in some way. We can also delete the morph ball with remove sprite, but how do we get it back? So if we add the sprite again, it's a zoomer, but we can edit the sprite and a new window opens. So now we have a selection for a slot, and that's the slot in the sprite set. So you see there are up to E slots, and E would be 14, I think. Yeah. So slot 2 is the morph ball, and slot 1, I'm sorry, it starts at 0. Slot 2 is an elevator, and slot 3 is this ball cannon, and slot 4 is a zoomer again, and slot 5 is empty. So yeah, we want the morph ball, so we're going on slot 1 and click apply. Always click apply, because in this little windows you always need to click apply, so it keeps the safe. So you can actually view the sprite set in the sprite set editor. This is the sprite set we're using right now. It will auto load the sprite set of the room that's used in the room. So we can see on slot 0 there's the zoomer, and then there's the morph ball and the ball cannon and the elevator. And basically what you see here, the graphics of the zoomer, that's like the animation of it. So the zoomer takes up 2 graphic rows, and the morph ball only takes up 1 graphic row. But as I said, we're going to get to this later, so I'm going to close that yet. Okay, now let's talk about the last thing I'm going to show you in this video, and that's the view. You can disable the BGs. It's pretty simple. You can just check this, and if you wanna like quick disable them, you can press Control and 1 to disable BG0, but we don't have a BG0 in this room, so that doesn't work. You can press Control and 2 to disable the player layer, like BG1. Then you can press Control and 3 to disable the BG2. That's the decoration background. And Control and 4 to disable the scrolling background BG3. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. In the next video we're going to talk about sprite sets and doors. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it was helpful for you, so you can create your own Metroid games. I did this because there are not a lot of tutorials for this program out there, and it's pretty easy to understand. You can do complicated stuff with it, but it's also pretty good for beginners. Yeah, that's it for this video. See you in the next video. Bye.